to give the floor to the distinguished representative of Sri Lanka.
States for their remarks in this morning. Madam President, the need for achieving a world free of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction is a sine qua non. As the international community continues to be confronted by the scourge of terrorism, with the increasing threat of destabilization of established states, the danger of weapons of mass destruction, their means of delivery, and related material falling into the hands of non-state actors will surely have a devastating consequence. It must be accepted without demur that there is a dire need to enhance coordination of efforts at national, sub-regional, regional, and international levels in order to strengthen a global response to this growing challenge and the threat it poses to global security. The United Nations Security Council Resolution 1540 is therefore a key component of the global non-proliferation response, emphasizes the importance of promoting dialogue and cooperation among states in addressing the threat posed by proliferation of nuclear, chemical, or biological weapons and their means of delivery. In this respect, the resolution fills existing gaps in the global non-proliferation regime. Firstly, while the non-proliferation regime is traditionally focused on state proliferation, 1540 is geared towards preventing weapons proliferation to non-state actors, such as terrorists and illicit networks. And while national implementation efforts under Biological Weapons Convention and Chemical Weapons Convention are intended to accomplish similar goals, 1540's sole intention is to create binding obligations regarding all three weapon types and avoid the negotiation processes and voluntary commitments under these treaties. Secondly, it is applicable to all states, regardless of their membership in multilateral agreements, so that states cannot simply remain unaccountable for such proliferation because they have opted out of an agreement. Furthermore, it brings together the entire range of multilateral WND obligations and controls, including prohibitions for proliferation, material protection, and physical security and border and export controls, all in one package. Existing treaties establish certain types of measures for particular weapons. And finally, as a resolution adopted entirely under Chapter 7 of the Charter of the United Nations, it not only is legally binding, but also potentially enforceable through the punitive measures available to the Council. To this extent, Madam Chair, 1540 is unique and possessed with a very wide sweep. Madam Chair, this open consultation undoubtedly is an important step in the right direction and keeps alive the required sensitivity to an activity that threatens the very existence of the human race. As part of our response to this grave threat, the present disarmament treaty architecture plays an important role to ensure a rules-based regime for nuclear disarmament. In this connection, Sri Lanka wishes to recall and reiterate our support to the key recommendations of the Weapons of Mass Destruction Commission in 2006, specifically the paramount value of multilateralism and the overall role of treaties and international law in reaching the goal of disarmament. Apart from key instruments in the field of disarmament, such as the NPT, other legal instruments, namely the Physical Protection of Nuclear Material Convention and the International Convention on the Suppression of Nuclear Terrorism, which addresses specific situations involving the access to nuclear material by non-state actors, provide a comprehensive framework for international cooperation to address the present global challenge. We also welcome the work carried out by Mexico as chair of 1540 in its effort to replenish Resolution 1540. This debate will no doubt nourish the comprehensive renewal process that is expected to come up with proposals for member states to strengthen the implementation of 1540 in the course of these consultations. The review process must address new challenges that have arisen, such as the utilization of information and technological developments, particularly on the internet, as an effective medium for proliferation. We must also address the need for capacity building and training in developing countries in achieving the objectives of the UNSC Resolution 1540. Madam Chair, Sri Lanka's commitment to this initiative is reflected in the international treaty obligations Sri Lanka has undertaken in the field of disarmament. We have always maintained that a transparent, sustainable, and credible plan for multilateral nuclear disarmament is an absolute essential in order to achieve the ultimate goal of a world free of weapons of mass destruction. Undoubtedly, the total elimination of weapons of mass destruction is the only complete guarantee against the use of threat or the threat of use of these weapons. In this regard, all member states have an obligation to negotiate in good faith to achieve the objectives of total elimination of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction. Madam Chair, we cannot compromise on reaching that ultimate solution. We cannot be seen to vacillate. We cannot be seen to create any space for jurisprudential accommodation and brilliant drafting, however attractive the literature may be, other than one of zero tolerance, a simple expression. To do otherwise, Madam Chair, threatens our very existence. In this context, Sri Lanka wishes to reaffirm the importance of the NPT, including the 2010 NPT Review Conference, its 64-point plan, and its 13 practical steps the NAC outlined in a bid to encourage disarmament, agreed at the 2000 NPT Review Conference, and the importance of a genuine adherence to all other principles and legal instruments, and hope that this consultation would offer the global community greater reason for hope in a trigger-happy world that has offered us little recourse in the last 2 years. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Agradezco al embajador y
I thank the ambassador and representative of Sri Lanka for his